This is Michael Karp. I'm a MatchMove supervisor for the last 20 years, and I'd like to answer some questions that people have been asking recently. One question is about artificial intelligence and MatchMove. So artificial intelligence, of course, has the appearance that the computer is thinking. And the reality is computers don't think, but if you've got a software like Massive that was introduced on Lord of the Rings, it has a feeling of being intelligent. And the same thing if you call in with voice recognition, these softwares can understand people's voices very well, and they can learn different accents. And so whether artificial intelligence can be applied to MatchMove, that's something that we'll have to see. Is it a vaporware situation, or are great products coming in the future? I don't actually know. There's all kinds of new technologies have been coming out from MatchMove for the last 25 years, and some of them are absolutely amazing. For example, when Buju came out, it would track automatically without any human input besides hitting the go button. But that was fine for easy shots, but for difficult shots, it still needs quite a bit of human intervention to make it work. So what Buju did at the time is that they had an ad campaign that said, famously, MatchMove is dead. And all the MatchMovers said, oh, MatchMove is dead, that means that our careers are over. But the reality is the opposite happened. The need for MatchMove skyrocketed dramatically, and the difficulty of the shots that the directors threw at us increased a great deal. So the shots got harder, the software got better, then we had anamorphic lenses to deal with, stereoscopic, complicated body tracks, and so there's all sorts of incredible tools that have come out. Mocha came out with planar tracking, and now that tracking is available in other software packages, especially for body tracking. So there's fantastic new tools all the time, and to me, it doesn't really matter whether it's got the label of artificial intelligence or not. What matters is, does it work? Is it vaporware? Or is it something that's actually going to work? So a few years ago, there was a very exciting new tool called the Lytro camera, which had a focus field where it could determine traveling mats for rotoscoping, and it would determine the 7 degrees of freedom for the MatchMove all by itself. So at that point, a lot of people were scared that their jobs would go away, but the reality is, the Lytro camera is now discontinued, mainly because it was too large, because it was 2 meters long, and it only would have a telephoto lens. It didn't have a capability of a wide-angle lens, which really means, with the size and the long focal length, that's really not useful for production. Directors on a big film is not going to use a unit like that. So in researching AI for MatchMove, the only thing I've really seen recently is Foundry has been talking about increased use of metadata. So the problem with metadata is that we rarely actually get it in production. The Alexa is fully capable of recording the frame-by-frame focal length, focus, tilt, and roll. But even the tilt and roll isn't really that accurate because it uses inclinometers and inertial sensors, which are not sub-pixel. So in that case, the MatchMove software like Equalizer, PF-Track, has to fix the data anyway. So that particular data does not encode the pan, and it doesn't encode translate X, translate Y, or translate Z, which again greatly limits its usefulness. There are systems that will record all 8 degrees of freedom, the translates, the rotates, the zoom, and the focus, such as a Lightcraft system that has optical sensors on the ceiling and walls of the set. But the problem with that technology is that if you're on an exterior set or a non-controlled situation, you really can't have those sensors. So the future is unknowable. Whatever tools that the geniuses come up with for MatchMove, we're happy to try them out. But right now, I don't see any fantastic earth-changing tools coming out. I see more of the evolutionary advances that we've seen so much of for the last 20 years.
Okay, what would you recommend for the new generation?
For the new generation of Match Move artists, you can learn the basics at home with the personal learning editions of Equalizer or PF Track, but to become really good, what you need to do is have a great lead to teach you. Your lead, she will know so much about rotomation and camera moves and object tracking, and there is no substitute for having a seasoned, grizzled veteran showing you the ropes, because there's many flavors and variations in Match Move, and typically we use Equalizer for solves, but sometimes we use other packages as well, especially PF Track for certain situations. So it's a human element. You need a good lead or a good supervisor to teach you how to do things.
Thank you.